about 9/11 tonight. As you know, we get into tomorrow's show, will be only about 9/11, what happened, what was reported to have happened, and what we pretty much have determined to have happened. Yes.
You know, I mean, look where we're at right now with respect to the collateral effect of this. I mean,
right. I mean, this is the
NDAA, all of this.
The beginning of the New World Order, the police state. It was the introduction to the one world government system, where now we have this enemy, this world enemy of terror, where we need to globalize our efforts and you know, come together as a one world order with the new FBI biometric facial recognition DNA scanning software rollout. Yeah, the FBI, along with IBM Security Solutions and Lockheed Martin, for the last 4 years at least, have been working on this system, and it's a $1 billion sinister project that will track everyone by their face, as one article states. Another article says, you know, it's an end to privacy, $1 billion federal or FBI program, and it has a twist in it where it acts like, well, is it bad or is it good? I saw an article like that today, I think out of the New Times, one of the publications, major publications. But we got the real deal on what's going on with this. It's the next generation ID system. It's been in the planning for over 10 years now. It is set to be fully implemented by 2014, and this is international in scope, meaning this is not just in America. And these are all what they call CVEs, I think, countering violent extremists.
Well, you know, look, the way I look at it is this, like a baseball bat. You could use it to play baseball, or you could use it to beat your wife with, or your husband with.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's like anything.
It's a dual-use instrument, and it's how it's used that is the issue. And if, for example, if your wife was assaulted in the parking lot of a Walmart or whatever, a store, and this surveillance system was able to catch the person who did it, or even prevent it, it's a good thing. But it's, you know, anytime people, globalists, are involved, they're gonna bastardize the entire system, and they're going to turn it inward against us.
Yeah, this next generation ID is the FBI's $1 billion nationwide multi-layered biometric data collection system, now in its final stages of implementation. And according to the FBI, this NGI program is a compilation of initiatives that will either improve or expand existing biometric identification services.
That's right.
It will accommodate increased information processing sharing demands in support of anti-terrorism. As a result, the NGI initiatives, the FBI will be able to provide services to enhance interpopularity between stakeholders at all levels of government, including local, state, federal, and international partners. Okay, part of this now is really important that this is international in scope. They've already been using this type of data sharing internationally. Now they're sharing this, they plan on doing this with 18,000 local, state, federal, and international agencies.
That's right.
Including state DMV databases, which are one, you know, where we go to get our driver's license. So maybe next time you go get yours renewed, I think I have to get mine done in 2014. You might have to do an iris scan. You might have to do a palm print to get your ID. Not only that, to take it a step further, this violates the 1974 Privacy Act provision, which requires that federal agents maintain the record accurately and set limitations on how and whom the records can be shared. The FBI claims that it is exempt from these provisions. And one more thing.
I'd like to know under what law that they're claiming the exemption from.
Yeah.
From what law are they claiming the exemption?
Yeah.
Under what law?
And I don't know if you've ever heard of Secure Communities, Department of Homeland Security Immigration and Customs Enforcement Program collects the biometrics of any person, any time that a criminal background check is done. Now, there was thought that states could back out of this, and the Obama administration told governors the fingerprint sharing program that targets criminals in the country illegally does not need their approval to operate in the states. The DHS, in response to the congressional questions, state that the states have no choice on how personal biometric data was used or shared once they shared the data with the federal government. So there was an issue with a few states not wanting this technology in their state, but basically expect closed-circuit TV cameras, basically like how the setup is in New York. I think they referenced the 3,700 cameras just in the subway system alone, not to mention the 40,000 on Manhattan Island between where the World Trade Center was and Times Square. It's just ridiculous. And now all this are going to be integrated to the point where I can't share this screen with you, but I'll show my father. They have these thumb scanners, fingerprint scanners, mobile fingerprint scanners that the police will be, it'll be a new tool they have. So when they pull you over and ask for your license and registration, they're also going to ask for your fingerprint. Or maybe they'll ask for some DNA. That's still up for debate. But it doesn't matter if you're a criminal or if you are a civilian, because this affects both.
Right.
And,
well, look. Yeah, and here's the issue with this. You've got 570 cameras spread out, by the way, in 3 stations, Penn Station, Grand Central, and another urban hub there. I can't remember the third. But anyway, this NGI, as you pointed out, I think you said this, is going to be fully operational next year. 2014. Well, yeah, a little over a year. And the fact that this database is international in scope is troublesome, because what we're doing now is we're opening our investigative files, both criminal and civil, to the entire world. And I'm not hearing anybody talking about this. To me, that's a problem, because do you really want a law enforcement agency in Central Africa accessing data from New York City or from Nebraska even? To me, this is not a good thing, but this is going toward the grand United Nations unification of the world, basically. This is a globalist plan.
Right, and this goes back to those, there's a PDF online. I suggest everybody download this. It is the White House Domestic Extremism Strategic Implementation Plan for Empowering Local Partners to Prevent Violent Extremism in the U.S.
Right.
Now, this is another story in itself, the hypocritical nature of this PDF, talking about combating Al-Qaeda, its associated forces, when they are promoting, funding, and supplying Al-Qaeda with, weapons and logistical support. And at the same time, they are saying here, you are a violent extremist if you even collaborate with possible associated forces of Al-Qaeda.
Right.
And this also in the strategic implementation plan, this is an implementation plan to do certain things, a call to action from different agencies, from ICE to DHS, and it talks about how they're going to use the FBI and the FBI's technological and surveillance operating systems and the advancement of those systems to integrate with this. So this is why we see this developed and rolled out, and the White House grabbed, this up and said, we're going to use this as part of our continuity of government, continuity of information sharing, and pretty much we're going to have a world criminal database. And it's going to go along with the world criminal government. Yeah.
Well, to the extent that, maybe I'm a little bit ahead of myself on the civil database. But no, a lot of times, and
I'll find it for you, because I do have something on the civil.
Yeah, there's interaction in the word you were thinking of, and interoperability between the two. There's many times that there's a connection between the civil and the criminal, as we know, working as investigators and having worked as investigators. So that's something that we have to really watch. Again, the database international in scope. The FBI is going to share the data with more than 18,000 local, state, and federal and international agencies. The FBI facial recognition initiatives. I don't know. Did you go over that? Where the tattoos, scars, marks. See, the NGI currently contains palm prints, scars, marks, tattoos, voices, irises, and facial measurements. But this is designed to even collect more biometrics. Now, the big thing here, I see the voice pattern. I've got a problem with that.
Yeah, and they have voice pattern, iris scanning, and retina scanning.
Right.
They're called unique identifiers.
Well,
facial recognition, right. Fingerprints, palm prints.
Right. Even
voice
ear
recognition.
prints, by the way. Ears, I don't know if people know this, but ears are unique per individual. So if you would put your ear against the glass on a window, we'll say, and they're able to lift a print from your ear, they can identify you that way as well.
Yeah, and what we're seeing here is the plan, the George Orwell 1984 Big Brother police state. This is the culmination. They are getting towards the end of measures to implement. They're running out of things to implement. They pretty much have a complete control grid in place, and even though you can't see it, it is there ready to roll out in minutes as countless government PDFs from civilian regional response task forces to Department of Homeland Security, DOJ, task forces, rapid response teams. There are teams, shadow teams, all across the country, ready to go out in a blink of an eye to set up mobile checkpoints, lockdowns of highways. They could essentially set up martial law in America in about an hour.
Look, coordination. People laughed at Alex+Jones when he said, "Look, they're going to have checkpoints and take your DNA and take your biometrics," and they were laughing at him and saying, "Oh, what a kook you are." Hey, he was right. People laughed at Steve Quayle. People laughed at Greg Evenson. People marginally. In fact, they're still laughing at these people. And how can anyone now not take this seriously?
Right.
And is it too late to take seriously? Or is it too late? Before we get into another subject, let's take a gentleman on hold here. Let's take Jeff from Chelsea, Massachusetts. Jeff, you're out with Doug and Joe Hagmann.
Oh, thanks a lot, Doug and Joe. Well, tonight is security night, and this is when I talk about things security. Now cameras, all this stuff that you guys are talking about, generally speaking, it's only after the fact. What you need to have a real police state is boots on the ground. That means informants everywhere. Sit on the train, me and you are talking about Christianity, have somebody behind you taking down notes, take a picture with their cell phone, and transfer it to the MBTA police. People can do that. Take a picture of a person and give that picture to the MBTA police if they think you've done something wrong.
Oh, we're getting into that. That's closer than you think, Jeff. We're getting into that tonight.
This is as good as boots on the ground because this implements cameras all across the United States. With audio. License plate readers. You could be driving in your car and wearing a mask, and they can still, with facial recognition software, if you got a photo that's on Facebook or anywhere on the internet.
I don't have Facebook, and I don't have my photo on the internet, but what I'm talking about is basically gang stalking, which is people everywhere hired by the government or hired by some entity, and they're able. And they just track people down, just strict boots on the ground, because it's intelligence that prevents terrorism. But like you said about the baseball bat, a baseball bat could be used to kill somebody, or it could be used to hit a baseball out of the park. It all depends on how the tool is used. I fear that the tool is going to be used as a bludgeon. Think 1984. Think of thought crime and thought police. And everything like that. the tools you're talking about is just whipped cream on the top compared to the boots on the ground, and how many people are willing to do it, how many people are willing to sell their souls to do it. And before I get off the air, just think North Korea. Guys, God bless and keep up the good work.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Jeff. Always a good caller.
Yeah.
You know, and look, we already have, now in some parts we already have the boots on the ground.
Yeah, and if they're under the veil of urban area training response teams or whatever, the urban training drills we see going on all over cities across the country, or they are NORTHCOM drills, or a collaboration of, 96 nations to do NATO drills and swarm the shores of Tampa to invade the, the coastline there. I don't know if you ever saw that video where they had the military in NATO they had boats and helicopters, and they stormed a local port there. I mean, these kinds of drills and activities go on all the time. We receive pictures and emails constantly updating us about odd movements in military training. When the military, and if you've ever been to a military base, I mean, we've driven by many of them, these places are huge. You could do any type of training you wanted in one of these places. I mean, it doesn't matter exactly, unless you're training for an urban house-to-house type situation. But even then, the military could, build a couple makeshift neighborhoods, and if they wanted to, they don't have to be so open about it. And that's what the question comes in. Is it a tactic of fear or conditioning? Is it
It's both?
Well, yeah. And what it does is
Ultimately,
playing on the emotions of human beings, on the fear of human beings, to get them to react in one way or another. Either react by fear and compliance, or react by fear and disobedience, or being, shoving yourself away from the situation, or being anti-government, I guess you would say, opposing their new measures. And that puts you into the category that we're talking about now, which I've been going through so many PDFs all weekend. The definition of an extremist and a violent extremist, a definition of a violent extremist includes words that indicates that you don't even have to be violent or support somebody who's violent. And I have to find the definition again. But
well, hold on a second, because somebody asked in our interactive chat room, and folks are welcome to join that chat room. Just be respectful to others. That's all we ask. Whether Facebook and MySpace, for example, your photographs are being used, indeed they are. Now, this has been admitted. Actually, I'm not sure if it's been admitted in the public sector, but it's been admitted through our sources anyway, where they are taking the profiles. They've essentially downloaded every single photograph on the internet, including all of your private photos. If you post something behind a firewall or behind a passworded area on Facebook or MySpace, the government has it. We can get it, all right? Now, as investigators, we can get it because we know how to get it. Having said that, all of these photographs, along with the names, are being matched up, and there is, I shouldn't say we have, but the government has a large NSA database that stores all of this information. They are compiling this information, so absolutely. In fact, MySpace, I believe it was, or I'm sorry, Facebook, I believe, did sell information to the government. It was one of the two, MySpace or Facebook. I'm not sure which. Don't hold me to which one, but they did sell proprietary information to the government that allowed them to do that. So, anyway, by the way, thank you for whoever said this about sending my article to their professor. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get into that article tonight. In other important news, this is big. We saw this just before the show. Rockefeller presides over creation of global journalist group to advance reporting on religion. So we have a Rockefeller controlled global journalist group of reporting on religion. So you have
this segue.
A Satan worshiper creating a global group of journalists to report on religion. So how do you think that's going to turn out?
Yeah, exactly. Let me ask the people in the chat for a moment, if I can. Kind of like a station break here, maintenance update. I received like 5 or 6 emails over the weekend about our sound. For example, you could hear us like, the littlest sound.
Shuffling paper.
Right, and we have very good equipment. So I'm just asking, I'm going to ask everyone if our sound quality is okay. Or if it needs, or if there's too much background noise. Can somebody in the chat just kind of give me an overview if our sound is all right?
Yeah, I mean,
hip shot fine.
I think we would have got complaints if it was not, because.
Thank you. All right, perfect tonight. Yeah. We look. We understand how distracting sounds can be, and I know that when we have guests on, some people are sounds like they're breathing into the phone, and
then you have background noises from there. When you have 4 people on the line, 3 separate, us in the same room and 2 people in separate rooms. I mean, we can mute microphones and different things, but we just try to keep everybody on the line. I don't have to do that, but if there is an overwhelming background noise, which apparently there was in a few of the last broadcasts.
Shuffle some papers and let's see.
Yeah, and we got some emails on the lady, Miss Botha, who's going to be back on the end of this week. We have a jam-packed week.
Yeah,
Wednesday. Henry Groover after the 9/11 show tomorrow. Wednesday, Henry Groover and Steve Quill from 9 p.m. to midnight. Thursday, we're going to have Larry Grathwold on for the show, and then Friday, hopefully, we're going to get Miss Botha back on, and we'll have the full week. And then Larkin Rose will be on with us on the 18th, which is a Tuesday, I think. Next Tuesday. Larkin Rose will be on.
All right. Sounds great. Yeah, if I don't know, I've got the creeping crud here, so I'm not sure what if I can last. My voice will last. Anyway.
Yeah, we both had some sore throat issues today.
Wow.
Cold air, guys. Shut your windows at night.
I guess. But anyway, now the Rockefellers, this creation of this global journalist group to advance reporting on religion. We went through this today. We did some solid research on this. Now, again, Alex Jones reported on this today, I believe, on his website. But we went into this, and we got involved in some of the sources. For example, the International Association of Religion Journalists, IARJ.
Yeah. I mean, this is insane.
Journalists from 23 countries, 6 continents, met at the Bellagio Center in Italy, the Rockefeller Foundation at the Bellagio Center in Italy. And nearly 400 journalists from more than 90 nations have been accepted into this new organization. Under the header, A Global Voice, the group states that the global religion journalism comes with great responsibility. Of course it does. Now, here's the deal. If you look at their mission statement, and we'll get into that in a second, but if you look at the ARDA, which is the Association of Religious Data Archives, which is not a party to this story, but the ARDA is the source for this Rockefeller group. Well, if you go to the ARDA website, the Association of Religion Data Archives, you won't find Christianity in there.
No.
You won't find Catholicism in there.
No.
But you will find Islam. You will find imams. You will find cult. You will find other things, but not Christianity.
Right. And don't forget that Rockefeller, in his book, his autobiography, wrote, and I just read this last week, for more than a century, ideological extremists at either end of the political spectrum have seized upon well-publicized incidents, such as my encounter with Castro, to attack the Rockefeller family for the inordinate influence they claim we wield over American political and economic institutions. Some even believe we are part of a secret cabal working against the best interests of the United States, characterizing my family and me as internationalists and conspiring with others around the world to build a more integrated global political and economic structure. A one world, if you will. If that's the charge, I stand guilty, and I am proud of it. So there you have it. This is a man who says that he is working against the best interest of the United States with the biggest families and other internationalists, money changers, as we call them from the Bible, and against the best interest of the United States to destroy it. And this is what they're doing. So when you see Rockefeller taking over or creating a religious organization for journalists, you have to know it is not of good works. And just to give you, David Rockefeller was one of the founding members of the CFR, and the CFR has had many quotes come out of it.
That's right.
One being, "We will be a well-organized political action group in this country determined to destroy our Constitution and establish a one-party state." That was stated by William Jenner. Also, the Rockefellers and their allies have for at least 50 years been carefully following a plan to use their economic power to gain political control of America and then the rest of the world. That was stated by Larry McDonald. And also, what we have is Rockefeller's talk about controlling the media. As soon as I find that,
David Rockefeller came right out and said that they couldn't have done what they did had it not been for the complicity of the media and the sympathy of the media.
Yeah, I don't have that right here, but we'll get to that later.
And that was back just a few years ago. Joe, let's take this caller from the 570 area code that's been on hold for quite some time here.
Okay.
Caller from 570 area code. You're on with Doug and Joe.
I think that's Jason.
Hey, Jason, you're breaking up terribly.
Really?
Yeah, okay, that's better.
A little better.
A little better?
A little bit.
Okay.
No, you sound very digitized. I'm not sure how.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's coming across in the listeners on the chat room, but it just seems scrambled.
But Jason, it's good to talk to you.
If that's the case, it's probably the NSA.
It could very well be.
Probably is.
What's on your mind, my friend?
Jerks.
It's good to hear from you. What's on your mind?
Well, first of all, Doug, I want to apologize for the call that I put in to you with Miss Peshman.
Oh, no problem. Jason, look, don't worry about it. Look, you had a right to ask that question. She, we were dealing with a very narrow topic, okay, and it wasn't we were trying to dodge or
No, I know. I just really if I knew that was a hot topic not to bring up, I wouldn't have called in the first place. But Doug and Joe, go ahead.
It's not going to be tomorrow, Jason. Tomorrow's all about 9/11, my friend.
I don't want to tell you, Jason. I think what you did was right because it is important to get as many people's takes on 9/11 just for informational purposes, not to debate them or go after what they believe, but just to understand how they see it.
Yeah, like a litmus test of sorts. Yeah.
Well, this is the thing, guys, and it's so important because we're coming up on another anniversary, and we are in the situation we are in right now because of 9/11, okay?
We are.
The wars, the division, if 9/11 was a lie, if what the government tells us 9/11 was a lie, then the entire spectrum of what we're in right now is a lie. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yes. And I don't think anyone of reasonable sensibilities out there would, with any degree of integrity and honesty, knowing the facts, would say that they would believe the 9/11 Commission report without reservation.
Amen.
The 9/11 Commission can't even. I mean, what?
Right.
Came out with statements or books talking about how corrupt, how untrue, and how censored the investigation was. That it wasn't even a real.
Joe? What was it? 6 of the 10 commissioners said that it was basically a fraud.
I think not only said it, wrote books about it, if I'm not mistaken. Each one of them did.
Well,
Joe, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Have you seen Fabled Enemies?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Has your dad seen it?
I'm not sure.
Fabled Enemies. Is that the one we watched together, or who is that? Was that?
It was an old. It was before.
Was that Russo?
It was
No.
Alex Jones
It's
documentary.
Jason Burmis.
Okay, Jason Burmis, yeah, promoted by Alex Jones on.
Okay. Yes, I watched part of that, and only because of a time constraint I had.
Yeah.
Oh God! Oh my God! Okay, Doug, please watch the whole thing.
That's where they get into urban warfare drills footage where they, have their hands up and they have U.S. soldiers pointing guns at Americans, and they're like, I'm
that's
an American.
in fact, I was with you when we watched that. I watched it.
Yeah.
Okay, Jason, I will do that. That's called Fabled Enemies, right?
Yes. Oh my God, Doug. I mean, just please watch the whole thing, because if you can believe the official story of 9/11 after you see that film, I know you have a high IQ, okay? So you're going to see it, okay, brother? I love you.
Hey, man, look, I'm not sure about my IQ. I haven't been tested since I was, a kid. But I'll tell you what, I don't believe the official narrative of the 9/11 story. I used to. Oh, I used to. Yes, I would argue with everybody that how could our government lie? But Jason, I got to tell you, man, I don't believe it anymore.
And God bless you, Doug. God bless you. God bless both of you. And I'm telling you, I say it every time I'm on. I hope people just keep giving as much as they can to both of you guys, because you're doing the Lord's work. I love both of you. God bless you. Bye.
Wait, hey, how's your radio show going? How's your radio show going?
Well, see, I have to get a co-host. As you guys know, doing 2 hours alone is kind of tough.
Okay.
Yeah.
So well, I'm trying to get a co-host, but I'm gonna I want to get back on air, but I have to get somebody that's passionate like me and you guys to help me out.
All right, my friend. Well,
and I told you I would help you guest host anytime I had time to do so. So
God bless you, Joe.
Mind. I'll definitely do that anytime I can.
A second job, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, God bless you, my friend. You take care.
God bless you. I love you guys. Bye.
All right, buddy. Wow. What a great guy.
Yeah.
Great guy indeed. Very well-meaning. Very. That's one thing that we don't do is when Jason. If you didn't hear the show with Marika Peshman, Jason called in and asked her what her thoughts were about 9/11, and I kind of cut him off only because Marika was on. It wasn't a censorship thing. It was just a very narrow topic of discussion, and we had a limited amount of time, and she had some points that she wanted to get across. And
but I could see how people listening to the show who maybe haven't listened before, or could take that as don't get into this, which I didn't know.
I think I did get spanked by a couple of emailers, but.
I mean, if I called in a show, I know we were talking about a certain line of questionings, but 9/11 fits into pretty much 95% of what is going on with our economy, our government, and politics today.
And ladies and gentlemen, look, I think this is important for everyone to understand.
I mean, the Department of Homeland Security was created because of 9/11.
Exactly.
The TSA.
And would that have,
look what they're doing.
Would that have been created? See, Oklahoma City, it wasn't created after that.
No.
So it had to take something of this magnitude to allow its creation. But I want to know, again, I'm looking forward to the show tomorrow to talk about 9/11.
And like 9/11 ushered in the New World Order globalist plan in the open, tonight we're going to usher in our 9/11 show by continuing to talk about parts of 9/11 while getting into other news. But it is interconnected because as we get into some of the stories we're going to cover tonight.
Are we going to do we going to extend the 3-hour show tomorrow?
Tomorrow? Yeah, we can do a 3-hour show tomorrow.
Folks, if we can get 5 or 6 people in the chat room to give us a thumbs up on
a 3-hour special on 9/11
from 8 to 11 tomorrow, just we'll do it on 9/11.
Absolutely, yeah.
So yeah, go ahead.
While you get the answers on that, some of the things we're going to get into is not only is our facial recognition FBI super computer biometric system police state rollout coming. Also, NAFTA on steroids, secret agreements to censor the internet. Now, there's been a lot of talk about the Cybersecurity Act, and then Obama using executive orders to get around that. Going to possibly, he's going to issue an executive order, and I don't think I brought my notes. I listened to a report.
Wait a second. Which executive order are you talking
about?
There's
a draft executive order that got released. The draft got released
for what?
For cybersecurity.
Oh, yeah. He's going to do that.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's CISPA on steroids via fiat.
And it says negotiators from the U.S. and 8 other Pacific Rim countries are meeting at a scheduled resort in Leesburg, Virginia, working out details in the secretive Trans-Pacific Partnership Trade Agreement that could hamper free speech on the Internet, Common Dreams reports. The negotiations began in 2007, have been carried out through the present day and Obama administration, along with several other Pacific nations under conditions of extreme secrecy without press, public, or policymaker oversight. Leaked info suggests an agreement could attempt to achieve some of the same objectives as the controversial and broadly protested anti-counterfeiting agreement, ACTA. And you guys remember that.
ACTA, SOPA, PIPA.
No one has the right to trade away our hard-fought legal protections for free speech and the right to health, and as much less to do it behind closed doors. Susan Nozzle, Executive Director for Amnesty International USA, said, and this article goes on to say earlier this year, a public citizen posted a leaked document from a past meeting on the website revealing that the pact will give multinational corporations radical new political powers in global trade, including the allotment of vast legal powers to multinational corporations over governments.
That's right.
Meaning, that's like fascism on steroids, putting the corporations' power and their ability to make decisions and policy over that of the elected officials.
Exactly.
And there was an update to this. It says, according to the Electronic Frontier Foundation, or draft chapter of the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement on Intellectual Property, as of its current leaked version, Article 16 insists that signatories provide legal incentives for Internet service providers or privately enforce copyright protection rules.
Right. Now, see, okay.
They want service providers to undertake financially the administrative burdens of becoming copyright cops.
But it's, yes, and it's more than that, okay? When you start, and how's this going to affect you, you might ask? Well,
it puts your rights at risk.
Right. But see, it's control of free speech on the Internet. That's the big backdoor thing that's going on right now. They're actually controlling or attempting to control free speech on the Internet through the pretense of this, this executive order. That's and see,
cybersecurity executive order.
People have always, in fact, Dr. Joyce Riley. Did I just pronounce that right?
Yes.
Wow, man, I just had like a moment there. Well, on her show, you know, talking about today, she said something about, well, they'll shut the Internet down and so on. You know what? I don't believe that. And I wonder how many of you believe this. See, Obama and the globalists need the Internet too much. They won't shut it down. They'll use it. They'll restrict you from using it.
It'll be a denial of service, selective enforcement type deal. Just like the TSA and the Department of Homeland Security with Muslims and the Border Patrol having to these rules of engagement and the amnesty program, certain groups will be exempt from that. And what will be censored is shows like ours. What will be censored is chat rooms, our websites, and these DNS, denial of service attacks that we went through last week when we
on 2 continents.
Yeah, right now GoDaddy has been taken down by Anonymous.
I'm not shedding any tears, folks. I don't know how many remember how many. I know we have new listeners. GoDaddy sent me. GoDaddy basically kicked Northeast Intelligence Network or Homeland Security US.com. They said, hey, you know what? You're in violation of your terms of service. Get out of our servers. And they gave me 48 hours to get it done. And that was the day before your wedding.
Yeah.
And it was the worst timing in the world. You know.
You were up for like 2 days straight.
Oh,
had to deal with my wedding and get your system information backed up and on a new server within a 48-hour time frame, I think.
And I want to thank Canada Free Press and Brian from up there, because I'll tell you something. Without them, they would not. I mean, I would not be sane, or we wouldn't be up. But see, GoDaddy. Well,
yeah. What goes around comes around.
But see, I don't believe for one moment that it was anonymous that took them down. I don't know what's going on with this. I just don't believe it was anonymous, or that's causing them problems right now. An anonymous person, an anonymous group within anonymous, or anonymous person within anonymous. I don't believe that. I believe that there's something more nefarious going on with GoDaddy and with.
They are, well, the owner is anti-Christian, pro-abortion.
No, he wasn't.
The owner?
No, the owner is supposedly some big patriot.
Okay, hold on. Let me double check.
Unless I am mistaken.
Let me check, because I just read something. And
perhaps maybe he's changed his tune, but he started it with, hey, I'm a big patriot, big whatever. But anyway, but see, I do believe that whatever's going on in GoDaddy is knowing what I know about this, which is just a little bit more than what's been publicized. Because of what's been affected, I believe that this was a practice takedown of certain parts of of GoDaddy, of that web host. So. And probably from another country. When I say state-sponsored, that is. That's what I believe. Okay.
Here it is. Millions of GoDaddy sites go offline. Not only GoDaddy, the server, but GoDaddy's customers. Where the largest domain register on the internet, GoDaddy.com, was taken offline Monday, shutting down thousands of potentially millions of users from websites hosted on affected servers. On Twitter, a person who claims to be affiliated with the Hallucinate Anonymous Collective has taken credit for the attack, saying the action was necessary to test cybersecurity.
See, I don't buy that, folks. I'm not sure how many of you do. Because
that's not the article I read earlier, but
I just don't buy that it was that for that reason. And again, the reason I say that is because of the method and what parts went down. I'll leave it at that until I have more information. All right. Now, one more thing that we found, that folks, I don't know whether you've heard about this or seen this. Two sides of the same coin. The lesser of the two evils is still evil. Barack Obama and Mitt Romney to attend and address the 2012 Clinton Global Initiative annual meeting. Folks, have you heard about this? Have you seen this? Do you know what this is? All right. The Clinton Global Initiative, what this is, what they do is it's a loose-knit organization of people and companies. They connect and collaborate within 8 broad and cross-cutting, what they call tracks or topics, each representing a topical global challenge and strategic approach. What they're talking about here is globalism, again, under the name of Clinton Global Initiative. Well, the name, it says it right there in the name. 8 areas of concern. Number 1 is the environment. Boy, who could have not thought about that? Second, education and workforce development. Of course, they want to take your children and teach them the right way, the proper way. Meaning godless, pro-state, turn in mommy and daddy. Energy and ecosystems. Hey, go green or we're going to tell on you. And girls and women, pro-abortion all of the way. Global health, pushing universal health care. Market-based approaches, basically trade and collaboration of market issues.
Yeah, I mean,
so on and so forth. I'm not going to get into all of it.
Well, you can, but just to make the distinction that Romney
and Obama, they're both going to speak at this
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I got that right, because they are supposed to be, political rivals.
Who is
completely
this break?
hammering each other on.
Don't answer me.
Hammering each other on, you know, how each of them are right and the other's wrong, blah, blah, blah. But they both answer to the same masters. And apparently what I read about the GoDaddy owner was something about him killing elephants. It must have been from I think it was from the Daily Cost. That's where I got it from. That's why it was.
Well, hey, if you see one on your wall, you got to kill it. I mean, I don't know.
In other news, TSA kicks woman off flight over drinking water.
Okay.
The TSA's screener admitted to a woman traveling through Houston Airport that she was prevented from boarding her flight for a retaliatory reason,
thanks.
as a punishment for a bad attitude rather than any genuine security threat, after the woman refused to allow TSA agents to test her drinks for explosives.
Okay, stop right there, because I was told again by someone today that the TSA screening drinks behind the security perimeter, that's an urban legend. That doesn't happen for explosives. Has anyone heard this? I'm not sure. If you've heard this, people in the chat, let me know. Look, it's not an urban legend. It's been in force since 2007. They have just expanded the program of late. So this is it. This is a new program, a new initiative of an old program, I should say. It's been in place since 2007. Anyone who tells you it's an urban legend is wrong, is misinformed, either deliberately or innocuously, but nonetheless misinformed.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And so this woman, now, let's get back to this woman, because, again, this happened late last week.
Well, she refused to allow TSA agents to carry out a controversial policy where they test drinks for explosives, and it says that she purchased this after she got through security. Right. She was inside the terminal at the Houston airport. The woman writes on her YouTube channel, "I was not allowed to board the plane, even though I had already been through airport security, because I drank my water instead of letting the TSA test it."
So, okay.
The TSA agent finally admitted that it wasn't because they thought it was a security risk. It was because they were mad.
Now, I want to add to this, too. There are some people...
I could freak out right now and go on a 10-minute rant about this, but I won't.
No, you know. But they actually... Okay, the TSA... Because I inquired about this... with airport security. I do have a friend in airport security at an airport in Western New York, and I asked whether the TSA actually dips these little sticks, these little pieces of these testers into the drink, or if they hold them over the drink, over the beverage. According to the information I have, depends on the type of drink. Okay, now that's all I got from this TSA officer, bottom line. All right. So there is an exchange. In other words, this strip, this tester, is put in the water or liquid that you have on occasion. Now, it could be held over the drink. And again, I'm not certain what the parameters are. If you hold it over, if it's a steaming cup of coffee, I don't know. But they're looking for peroxide-based explosives. And if they're doing that, they need a mass spectrometer. In other words, it's all security theater. I guess what I'm trying to tell you is it really doesn't matter, because they would need the equipment that they don't have at the airport. The types of explosives they're looking for cannot be tested in the manner that they're being tested, at least not with any degree of certainty. I'd be like me testing for, well, I don't even want to give an analogy, but it's just security theater. So let's move on from there. We're getting close to the top of the hour.
Oh, man, that's going quick.
Oh, let me get into this real quick, too, because Russia buys up some... Folks, you hear about this?
Saudi Arabia. And, well, I don't know if Russia's buying it. Saudi Arabia is buying it, and Egypt is buying it. Only we are going to lend Egypt $1 billion to buy military equipment from Germany. We are selling military equipment to Saudi Arabia. And,
well, you didn't give me a really good segue, but Russia is buying up a lot of gold right now. Barack Obama, Bernanke, they're preparing to open up QE3 real soon. And this is something I heard from my contact with the DHS, where now the talk is, well, there's some attempts to keep the economy together before the election, which is a little bit inconsistent with my initial report of, hey, economic chaos and keeping him in via dictatorship. Now, I told you that the information, the situations would be fluid. Things could be fluid, okay? Plans do change. Perhaps if they think that Obama could win legitimately or by other means, whether, it's vote rigging or whatever. But at any rate, Obama and the Federal Reserve, as they prepare to unleash, billions in really worthless money.
Yeah.
The
non-asset-backed money.
The Russian KGB guy, Vladimir Putin, he is making an very aggressive purchase move to buy up the world's gold reserves now.
Now, we've seen China try or inquire on purchasing so much gold that it could not be filled, the order itself, because there is not enough physical gold available. And they're just one country.
Look,
also, silver has went up, I don't know. It's up
a couple of dollars.
It's up to almost $34 last time I checked.
Well, yeah, but 1933, gold was how much? 34? No, I'm not sure.
Gold was in 1933. I think
in 1933, gold was 26.80 an ounce.
Okay.
All right. And FDR confiscated people's gold at that time. In fact, the poor lined up to turn the gold in, and shortly afterward, when FDR the government had all of our gold, well, suddenly the gold went up to $35 an ounce. What happened? Well, gee, you know what happened? The government effectively stole about 40% of people's money, of our money, by doing that. So think about that. $26.80 an ounce, you turn it in the government pushes it up to $35 an ounce, and they win by 40%. You lose by 40%.
You don't lose by 40%. You were robbed
of 40% of your wealth. Our government, 79 years later now, and I don't know whether you folks are familiar with this, they confiscated 10 privately owned 1933 $20 gold double eagles from a citizen who found them in a family-owned safety deposit box at their local bank. Did you hear about this? That's right, they did. The family members took these double eagles to a mint and to verify their authenticity, and guess what? The Treasury swooped in and said, you can't own these. $80 million is what the Treasury took, the United States government took from this family. $80 million in gold coins. That was their value. And I believe that was because they were, again, pre-33 coins, and they took them on a technicality. They were 1933 coins, and they took them on a technicality. Can you?
Yeah, I mean, I can believe that.
That's shameful. So, look, one thing we got to do: we got to buy food, we got to buy water, we have to have a way to defend ourselves, our property, our loved ones, and even our metals if we have them. Don't hold them in a safety deposit box in the bank. Get them out of the bank. Get them in your house, and make sure you get a way to, or I shouldn't say get them in your house. Put them somewhere where they're safe.
And first and foremost, we need to protect ourselves with the armor of God, because without that, we are unprotected in all other aspects of life. And we're trying to figure out how to effectively reach people. It seems that we come to a point where you get to talk to somebody who is uninformed, and the information you share with them, yet might seem subtle to you, is overwhelming to them. And
a lot.
There are a lot of people who are unsure. It's not that they are one way or another, just don't care. There are people that care but just don't know which way, they're going. They're in this transition phase. And I think there are more people in this transition phase now than ever before. And we're trying to figure out ways to get their attention, at least to bring them to this realm of alternative media and news and Bible prophecy and Christianity mixed together. And ways we can do that and how many people can we affect? How many more people can we change? Well, I mean, we still have time. We're still alive, so there's still a chance. And we have to think of ways to, outside of the box, to approach these people, to
well, we've got to help bring them along. As watchmen, that's our job. As you folks, that's your job too. I mean, you've got to help other people to the extent that they want to be helped.
Yeah, and something that has been on my heart as an American, especially, as half the world lives on less than $2 a day. We have hundreds of thousands or so many people starving to death every year in the world. So many people under oppressive regimes in these third world nations. And it says, to whom much is given, much is required.
Absolutely.
Well, an average American, even a poor American, is given a lot more than they even understand compared to the rest of the world.
That's right.
We need to take that into consideration in our day-to-day lives, because we are required to do things because, you know. Sorry about that silence. The bumper music is coming across as noise.
Yeah, like white noise.
Yeah.
Folks, thanks for...
We'll be
we're going to be right back
after a short break. Stay with us. Hour number 2 coming up. Your phone calls, some more news.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about
Chicago Teachers Union.
In our report that we did, our expose on HomelandSecurityUS.com about America the Battlefield and CanadaFreePress.com, but America the Battlefield. We're going to be talking about that because we get into some analysis of firearm or ammunition purchases and showing that they're not being used for target practice. Folks, are right back after these messages. Now broadcasting in high definition at Homeland Security US, the #1.tk. That's Homeland Security US, the #1.tk. You can see us in high def over there. We're going to be right back.
Survival of the fittest. In any and all situations, survival is your #1 priority. That requires being tough and thinking smart. And the folks at Freeze Dry Guy are going to help you do just that. They have the long-range patrol ration entrees, what they call the Brick Pack. When you're in survival mode, it is absolutely the best item for your survival pack or bug-out bag. You can go farther, faster, and carry more food with the LRP cold weather ration entrees. Not only do these long-lasting, durable entrees help sustain you or your family through the harshest environment or situation, they are by far the most delicious of their kind. No contest. With a variety of tasty entrees, you can't beat the LRP Brick Packs. Let Freeze Dry Guy help you in your survival situations. Go to freezedryguy.com. That's freezedryguy.com, or call 866-404-3663. That's 866-404-FOOD.
Hi folks, Doug Hagmann here. You might know me as the co-host from the Hagmann and Hagmann Report, or as a frequent guest on Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. If you're like me, you're tired and confused over today's headlines. You just don't know where to turn for accurate, concise information about really what's going on, what's truly going on in today's society. If you don't know where to turn for accurate, well-researched, and properly vetted news, I've got a suggestion. In fact, it's a requirement. Bookmark Canada Free Press. That's CanadaFreePress.com on the internet. It's just not for Canada. It's for news across the world. Judy McLeod, founding editor, has put together a vast array of talented writers like Kelly O'Connell, Daniel Greenfield, Dr. Eileen Johnson-Powell, a lot of guest columnists, very talented writers. Folks, that's Canada Free Press at CanadaFreePress.com. Now mobile friendly. Follow on Facebook, because without America, there is no free world. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to take a moment here to let you know that we have a new sponsor for our radio program. It's mindregard.com. That's mindregard.com, both sponsor for our radio show and our website. Now, let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. Mindregard.com is a website. I talked to the owner. They've got a product called Nootropic. That's not exactly how you pronounce it, but that's the way I pronounce it. It's N-O-O Tropic. nootropic. It's a term for a supplement, a dietary supplement, which supports, promotes healthy cognitive function. It actually has ingredients like various ingredients, various herbs, various nutraceuticals being a diet type ingredient. This is not a drug. These ingredients have medicinal-like properties that prevent disease. It's a balanced formula of ingredients to promote healthy cognition, which increases your blood flow to your brain. Although you can't tell it by me, but seriously, I feel a lot better after taking it. It has antioxidant support and mood enhancement to have a very calming effect, which is something I so desperately need. Look, I'm a type 2 diabetic, and I also have heart problems and a number of spinal problems, and I've got a lot of it. I feel terrible sometimes. I started taking this about a week and a half ago, and I've got to tell you something. It really positively affected my mental cognitive abilities. And I need a lot of help in that department sometimes. And being a diabetic sometimes really knocks me out and makes me tired. But I'm going to tell you something. After a week, just a week of taking this nootropic, this supplement, I feel much better. And in fact, I would recommend this. I bought a bottle for my father-in-law who has early onset of Alzheimer's. I've noticed a slight change in him. Now, I can't attribute it to this, but that's the only thing that's different about it. I've got Joe, he's been taking it. He's noticed some more energy and more clear thinking, clear-headedness, if you will. I don't know what's in this, but I got to tell you, it's worth every penny that you can pay for it. That's mindregard.com, mindregard.com. And I don't think you're going to be sorry. You're going to be able to tell the difference.
If you're stumped, you don't know what kind of gift to give to a friend or a loved one, I'm telling you, you must go to 4physics.com. That's the numeral 4, PHYSICS.com. This is your one-stop shopping palace. That's the only way I can put it. I could spend easily an hour on this website. Innovative, fun, educational. There are games, books, weather instruments, unique time-telling devices, jewelry, optical devices, laboratory equipment. Let me give you an example. We all know we can tell time with a sundial. You've seen those advertised. Did you know that you could tell time by the stars? At 4physics.com, you can buy a horologium nocturnum. This was a navigational device used in the 15th century by navigators at night to tell time by the stars. It's beautifully crafted in the shape of a pendant made of bronze and pewter or gold and silver. Absolutely a stunning gift. I would be proud to give it to anyone. You must go to 4physics.com. Even if you're not stumped, that's 4physics. That's the number.
Doug Hagmann, one guy that doesn't need a bullhorn to get your attention.
You want answers! I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
And welcome back, folks, to this Monday edition of the Hagmann and Hagmann Report. Today is Monday, the 10th day of September 2012.
On the
tomorrow, 11 years.
11 years.
And you know, I'd like to solicit some telephone calls in advance of our show tomorrow. And yes, tomorrow we will have a show from 8 o'clock until 11 o'clock p.m., a 3-hour show. We're going to round up some clips. We've interviewed Richard Gage from the
Architects and Engineers.
Right, exactly, AIA. And some other people about 9/11 as well. put together a pretty nice program. And we want to hear from you, though, both tonight in advance of that show and tomorrow night, about your theories, your thoughts on 9/11. And if you have any loved ones that were involved in that, you know, certainly our prayers go out to you. But I don't think that this is, I do believe that the actors involved are still alive, shall we say.
Not only that,
planners.
They are still involved in our political world.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, to what end? What's the larger picture here? I think we can all answer that. I think we all know what that answer is, I should say. But you know, look, I used to wave the American flag and say, you know, let's bomb the heck out of Afghanistan, let's bomb the heck out of anybody in retaliation for 9/11. That's where I came from. That's where my mindset was. And then you start to look at things, and just like any normal investigation, things don't add up. And all of a sudden you're saying, wait a minute, hey, hang on a second here. You know, that last Bin Laden tape, that was clearly a forgery. That's as much of a fraud as Obama's birth certificate. Okay?
One of the better YouTube videos about 9/11 done by the Colbert Report points out how Osama bin Laden seemed to release video after video as he appeared younger and younger in each one.
Well, you know, and I had back in 2006 or 2005, 2006, I had a CIA agent knock on my door because we found a video clip of bin Laden, and on one of the frames there was a hexadecimal series of numbers and letters, and we published that on our website.
I remember you telling me about this.
And I don't think it was on our website 10 minutes. The phone rings in my office, and there's a young lady on the phone, and said, this is Agent so-and-so with the Central Intelligence Agency out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I said, yeah, come on, you know, who is this really? And that's exactly who it was. And the next day she was in my office, and talking about this, you know, where did you get this clip? Where did you find it? Wanting all of this information with respect to the clip, and we gave it to her. So,
it ended up being some encryption.
Yeah, it was an encryption. But the story, I guess the reason I mention that is this. Looking back at this now, 6 years later, 7 years later, I do believe, ladies and gentlemen, that they put that in there, and we found it, and we weren't supposed to find it. I don't know, to this day, I don't know what it means. I have no clue. It must mean something, though.
Yeah.
It must mean something. And that said, you know, that alone is not a lot, but that said, does suggest that there's more to the official narrative, obviously. But and I'll tell you this: the CIA, they've got some pretty impressive-looking credentials. If you ever had, you know, when they whip out their badge and identification, it's like an Olympic trophy almost. You know, I seriously. But having said that, they do have a long. Oh, and I said, you know, I'd be more than happy when I was in my discussion with this agent in my office. I said I'd be more than happy to provide you with whatever information, you know, about me that you need, about our organization. And she said, no, we already have all that. Well, of course you do. All right, moving along here. Okay, the economic situation, folks. Look, it's getting worse.
Yes, it is.
Right now, Greece, they're in basically a riotous formation. We're not seeing any of this on the evening news, or what we're seeing is pretty much sanitized.
Also, boiling point, workers clash with police in Rome. Clashes have flared after Italian police dispersed a crowd protesting Italian workers. Around 600 demonstrators gathered in Rome, to pressure governments to reopen a recently closed aluminum plant in Sardinia. But see, what is going on is these cuts are being made. It is affecting, you know, things that aren't vitally essential to the governments, or what the government see as vitally essential, like their weapon caches and all that.
The infrastructure suffers, and other areas.
Well, their pay
suffer.
rises.
Exactly.
Well, their benefits rise.
Exactly. Let's go to the phones here because I really don't want to leave callers holding too long. 281 area code. You're on with the Hagmann and Hagmann report.
Hi, Doug and Joe. This is Sharon again.
Hey, Sharon.
Hey, I'm excited. Joe said let's talk about what God's doing in our lives, and I'm just so excited and happy to share something.
Sure,
so,
go ahead.
I would have loved, you know, we're sitting here waiting on World War III and the third of mankind to die, and I care very much. My personality isn't such to go and solicit people for a conversation because this is America, and most people, unless they ask me, I'm just not, and, you know, that would probably be a sin on my part. But I kind of wanted to shrink wrap a car and, you know, just drive around as my way. But, of course, unless you have a spare car, you really can't do that because it wouldn't be appropriate in all functions. So in buying some business cards, which I've done before to say something important to me, there were magnetic door signs, large magnetic door signs, which were the perfect solution for something that I really want to do and I think really matter.
What,
so
okay. Go ahead. What kind of signs, or what do the signs say? Sure.
Now, I live in Houston. I live in a suburb, actually, but, you know, I'm in an area. The signs are large magnetic. They're kind of black with lightning coming down.
Wow.
And it starts, it's very simple and sweet. I just wanted to say World War III at the top in large letters, and the bottom it says, please be saved. Please give your heart to Jesus today, John 3:16. And in the middle were two scriptures, and from there I think they can take it and God can show them. One is Isaiah 17:1 about Syria is going to be a heap of rubble.
Right.
And Revelation 17:14 where a third of mankind's going to die. I mean, those are thought-provoking. They're true. Anybody that would say, that can't be true, like I did when I first heard it, even being churched, I was like, no way. How can I be in church 18 years and I've never heard this? So I'm just so happy God showed me to another way which I could do what he wanted me to do. And I'm a reader, so I can just set my car anywhere I want to and, you know, do something that's meaningful in a way that I can do it.
Just so I'm clear, you've done this now, right? You have the signs and you've done this?
Well, I've passed out business cards like on cars all over before. I've done that before.
Okay.
So that's what I started my purchase to do. You know, it's like just kind of a chicken way to do it, but people don't want you coming up telling them. They really don't. Nor do I want the Jehovah's Witness or different religions telling me. I'll be polite, but after I say I'm not interested, you know, we'll have to take it up a notch. But so I have done that before, so I thought, you know, I'm sitting here waiting on people to die, and I'm going to do it again. And there were the large magnetic signs.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's just a perfect solution for a very strong desire I had, and I'm excited to tell people about that. Maybe a few less people will go to hell because it'll just spark that curiosity to see is it true.
Well, you know, look, people use billboard campaigns very effectively, and a car, I would notice that maybe more than a billboard, a car with those signs on it, you know. So, you know, your reach could, I mean, you could change minds and change lives. I mean, it's good because really we are entering, and I don't think we have any doubt about this, we are entering into a very precarious time right now. World War III is right around the corner. Yes. And Damascus will be a ruinous heap, according to, you're right, Isaiah. Look, and I think you've heard about the Psalm 83 war where the Confederacy of 10 Arab states will go against Israel. That should happen first, which will result in, or at the same time, the Damascus being a ruinous heap. If you haven't gotten the book Israelistine by Bill Salas, that's a great book to get. It'll kind of walk you through the timeline of that. Did I dominate your whole time there, Sharon? I didn't mean to do that.
No, not at all, not at all. I just wanted to share with our whole blog family, you know, that God gave me a way to do you know, my thing. You didn't dominate that at all. I will check out that book. I have Petrus Romanos, and it's taken me forever to read it because it's so overwhelming. And so the last time I was reading it for hours in, and it was just, you talked to me before about being overwhelmed, and I took your advice. I did take your advice. And I was just so overwhelmed. And you know what, Doug? I looked up out the window. Yes, it was raining, you know, so it's not like it didn't belong there, but you still don't see a magnificent rainbow every day. And I just felt, you know, a lot better just realizing God is bigger than all of that.
That's right. You know, you've got to put your trust in God. You've got to put your faith in God. God wrote the book. You know, I mean, He's in control. You know, we make plans and God laughs. That's what I like to say.
And it says faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. For by it the elders obtained a good report. Through faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God, so that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear.
Yeah, you know, faith, that's the big thing, caller. I'll tell you. But no, you know, boy, that's an interesting idea about the car signs and about, you know, how to educate and talk, you know, not talk to people, but get people involved without very passively. That's pretty good.
Exactly, very passively, and yet, you know, the word speaks for itself. So, you know, it works for me, and I'm real happy about it. And I'm usually very frugal, and actually the numbers were kind of symbolic for me because it was 1333, so I splurged for the fast shipping, and it's on its way, and I'm just going to spread the word my own way. There is a man in Corpus Christi, Texas. He's disabled, and, you know, probably anybody in the city knows. He sits in that old van at intersections and tells people to repent in the most loving way, and, you know, that's his way of doing things. So thank you for your time. I know a lot of people have things to share.
God bless you. Thank you so much for calling.
Yeah,
thank
you for the call.
Okay. You're welcome. Bye.
Yeah, I don't know if people heard the distortion in the chat room.
Some did, and it's odd because usually that distortion stays between our headphones, and it's most prevalent when Steve is on. Yeah. And to see it coming through to the audience and to the broadcast is kind of odd. They're getting worse.
Look, we are getting, again, if only we could tell people what's going on. I mean, we're getting emails, a lot of emails, where things are ramping up in terms of attacks on us professionally, on our website, on our radio show. It's just getting more and more, which is, we accept that because that comes with the territory.
Yeah.
Now,
and I want to get into this.
Okay, before you do, one more.
Go ahead.
I did want to mention this. Speaking of emails, I got a couple of emails from, let's see, I've got to be very careful how I say this. We'll say ammunition dealers, gun shop owners. They've noticed many police agencies, especially in the Midwest, buying large, and I mean large amounts of ammunition, tens of thousands of rounds of ammunition, especially in the Midwest. I can't name the police agencies because I just can't do that. But in the Midwest, okay, large amounts, 2 different police agencies that I know of right now in the same state. This dealer is going to be letting me know more as these ammunition purchases come in, but we're talking about 6 figures of ammunition, far more than can be used during normal training purposes. One more email I've gotten, and again, I'm paraphrasing this. 2 different cities, I'm sorry, yeah, 2 emails I've gotten, 2 different cities, 2 different people. They are witnessing the presence of DHS vans. One is a DHS van, one is like a half-track, or not a half-track, but a Humvee, I'm sorry, in their towns. One is in the Southwest, one is in the Pacific Northwest. So just as an FYI, things do appear to be heating up a little bit.
I wanted to step back in history a little bit and read out of this book I have because I think it's so important, and it shows how far down the slope of uneducation, of cognitive, dissonance?
Dissonance.
Between, I mean, the language.
Right.
I was on the phone with a listener and a friend of the show last night, and I was reading this, and this is William Penn, 1682, and William Penn is a figure, a local hero here in Erie. We have not a statue, but a memorial for him. But anyway, he wrote in a letter that was the preface to the Frame of Government of Pennsylvania. Okay, and this is how he worded it. Listen to this. When the great and wise God had made the world of all his creatures, it pleased him to choose man, his deputy, to rule it, and to fit him for so great a change and trust. He did not qualify him with skill and power, but with integrity to use them justly. This native goodness was equally his honor and his happiness, and while he stood here, all went well. There was no need of compulsive means. The precept of divine love and truth in his bosom was the guide and keeper of his innocency. But lust prevailing against duty made a lamentable, I just butchered that word, breach upon it. And the law that before had no power over him took place upon him, and his disobedient posterity and such would not live comfortable to the holy law within should fall under the reproof and would not live comfortable. I just read that. Sorry.
1600 language.
Yeah.
1600 is a little bit.
But the way he refers to God as a great and wise God that made the world.
We were built up as a our foundation is Christianity. I mean,
they talk about His Majesty, His divine, glorious presence. I mean, the way that they refer to Him now would get us put into mental institutions today.
Well, of course.
They referred to Him then.
Of course.
And it's just, it's so sad to read these, to go through all these. I mean, this book is Church and State in American History, Key Documents, Decisions, and Commentary from the past 3 centuries.
Look, just as the MIAC and other reports state that we are pro-Christians or pro-Christians and pro-life people are terrorists. Our forefathers were terrorists, according to a lot of the various training organizations. And yet,
and think this was not extreme. In 1669, when they were writing the Constitution of Carolina, this is one of the parts in here. No man shall be permitted to be a free man of Carolina, or to have any estate or habitation within it, who does not acknowledge God, God that is to be worshipped.
Right,
of course.
Of course. I mean, you had to be a God. I mean, this was not the establishment of religion. This was simply the recognition. And of course, it was just pre-Constitution. But
yeah, and we were talking about how we've come so far away from that. And after you had so much of the generation after generation parents teaching their kids the ethics of hard work, of being righteous, being holy, the book of the Bible being the main book of study. And as we got further into time and technology and TV and radio and TV, et cetera, it seems like God has turned into more of a myth or a folklore, and the Bible more of a possible answer to our history, but is regarded as an unlikely one now. They say that it is, not accurate. It is based on myth. It is a combination of, 17 other religions from before, Christianity ever began, or the God of Israel ever appeared. I think that movie Zeitgeist tries to point that out, that it is just a combination of, different it's the same story over and over again. But anyway, we need to get back and understand the way. I mean, these people, their lives.
They led very godly.
Yes,
existence.
God was a part of every decision in their life.
That's right.
They took pride in their work being dedicated to God. I mean, how many people today do that? Even though we do the radio show, I try to pray before the show every day to be led to say the right thing, and I don't always remember to. But how many people even? I wonder how many pastors don't even pray anymore to get guidance from God,
or they pray to
before
the neutral deity.
Right.
So to
we
speak.
don't have him as a priority in our life the way we need to. And when I try to explain this to people, even Christians who believe in God and love Jesus, they say it's too much. You don't need to be that involved. You don't need to have that much. What do they call it? Jesus freak. Some people will say. Some other,
I
people
take
will,
offense even
right,
to reference in that.
I don't even like saying it, but it's just amazing the society today and how quick it came to be a abomination from being a righteous society in America.
Absolutely. And I want to say this too. Moving on a different topic with respect to the litigation in Ohio by private investigator Susan Daniels to litigate or to compel Barack Obama or to in her her litigation against the Secretary of State to get Obama off the ballot because of his Social Security fraud. The Secretary of State ruled against her, and that happened last week. Well, as we look at Obama, and right now Mike Zullo, the head investigator of the cold case posse, the situation is this. They have the cold case posse, Sheriff Joe Arpaio has enough evidence to file a prima facie case against Obama for fraud, all sorts of fraud against various individuals within the Obama administration. Of course, where do you take that? Sheriff Joe Arpaio has Mike Zullo has stated that John Bonnier has absolutely refused to deal with this, and says we will not even entertain whatever evidence you have. That from that Speaker of the House to a commissioned law enforcement body. Now, the question that we had, and I had talked with some people close to the investigation on this, two different people, including Mr. Zullo. Mr. Zullo does feel that people have been threatened. The FBI files, for example, on John Bonnier might indicate some sort of, well, who knows? But there is an oppressive force attempting to hide the truth here.
Absolutely. And they will do everything in their power, everything in their supernaturally evil, occult, worshiping power. They will summon the spirits of evil to work against. They will summon 10 spirits of evil to work against one man of God.
But this goes back so far. It goes back to Valerie Jarrett's father. Valerie Jarrett's father and mother. This goes back to David Axelrod, his connections. Frank Marshall Davis, of course, you know about that. But the real new issue here is that the resistance now by the overt resistance by people like John Bonnier and others within the government to say, no, we're not going to look at this. We're not going to entertain anything you have. And Mike Zullo said it's like screaming into a pillow. It's almost as if no one in America cares anymore about this issue. In fact, there's fraud everywhere. Well, the Frank Marshall Davis angle, according to everything that I've seen, is a very solid angle. Obama, Davis, Axelrod, Jarrett, they're all communists or have communist ties. And if you look at and I'll mention this again, the incident that happened in Perm, Siberia, with the Lugar delegation, when Lugar and Obama were attempting to verify the strategic nuclear reduction in Russia. when he was detained for 3 hours by Russia. It's very possible that Obama is a communist plant. I mean, look, as much as crazy as that sounds, but look at where this is being taken. How else can one have their legend changed, their documents changed to such an extent, and without the concern, without the care, without the with government complicity? But if you follow the trail of communism from Valerie Jarrett, Obama's closest advisor, who has, by the way, her own Secret Service detail. Excuse me, that's something. But her mother, her father, Vernon Jarrett, worked with Frank Marshall Davis, openly communist in the United States. This whole thing is incredible. So our Pyle investigation, although it is still going on, and it will continue until it's resolved, even if it succeeds Sheriff Joe Arpaio. I mean, this guy's 80 years old. This will continue. Mike Zillow will continue this. They're not done, and they're after justice. So whether or not they get that, I don't know, but I wanted to mention that as well. But Susan Daniels, her suit, obviously, unsurprisingly, was dismissed by Ohio last week.
On some 9/11 news we promised we would get into, there's an article out of the Daily Mail. Is there a link between toxic dust from 9/11 aftermath and up to 50 types of cancer?
I think we got some listeners that would say yes.
Federal government to acknowledge as thousands set to claim compensation. The National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health is expected to announce the findings tomorrow on September 11th. About 400 first responders or people who live near the site have died from cancer since 9/11. The Zadroga Act originally did not cover cancer because there was not enough evidence linking it to toxins emitted at Ground Zero. For the first time, the federal government is on the verge of recognizing that people who live near Ground Zero and first responders got cancer from the toxic dust at the scene.
You know, and why does this have to be reported by the Daily Mail as opposed to a state, United States newspaper?
You know, it was reported by United States Alternative Internet site, but the link went back here.
No, the Alternative Internet site was citing the Daily Mail, so this originated overseas.
Right, and this is what most of our real news comes from, is overseas. It goes on to say Michael Barash, a lawyer who represents thousands of first responders and residents, told the New York Post this new scientific evidence that dust is what is now linked to not only the respiratory illness, but all these cancers.
That's right.
And it goes on to talk about other people and their stories, but it says the ruling will mean thousands of people who are sure they got sick in the aftermath of the outrage will be eligible for compensation. And you know, we have more sick first responders than we had people die in the Trade Center attacks.
That's right. And Christine Todd Whitman came out and said, hey, the air quality was fine with the EPA. You know, everything's fine. You go ahead. You know, you don't need masks. You don't need respirators. A lot of people did not listen to that in war protection. Others did listen and figured, okay, we'll just work. And, you know, that in and of itself is should be an offense that should be indictable if it's proven that she and others knew.
Yeah, they did know
of the level of toxicity of the dust and of the airborne contaminants.
And that's one of the things that we're going to get into, because there's a good movie, 9/11 Chronicles: The Truth Rising, that gets into her decision. Because of Wall Street, because of the schools, they wanted to get things open and back to normal.
Yes.
And it was a simple thing they could have done to prevent. They could have saved thousands of lives by simply telling people to wear masks or whatever preventions they needed.
Right.
But no,
they
didn't. And now look, how many thousands and tens of thousands of people's lives who were there to help, who put their lives on the line to help try to rescue others, are now sick.
They would have had. See, they would have had to
people
move the downtown Lower Manhattan, half of Lower Manhattan, including the stock exchange.
Yeah, well, you know, people are more important than money and resources. You understand what I'm saying.
Of course.
But it doesn't matter how many people you have to move. You don't let them, like Fukushima, you don't let people live around there. And one of the things I didn't get into last week, and I had the story, there's mutant butterflies flying around, other mutant insects, fish from Fukushima or around in the Pacific Ocean is been tested with high levels of cesium and is being warned or taken off the market because of that. And we're seeing these mutant animals, mutant insects. Humans, we take a little bit longer to get sick unless we're exposed to high levels of radiation, you know, over and over, or a big dose at once. So the people are the next ones who are going to be mutant, who are going to be sick, and who are going to be dying. But back to the 9/11 and the acknowledgement that the dust is the cause for about up to 50 cancers. I would be surprised to see them admit this tomorrow. But why? Why tomorrow?
Why not? I mean, what better way to cover?
What I mean, you're announcing. Wouldn't these people be opening themselves up to civil?
Of course.
Like this Christine Todd Whitman, wouldn't she be opening herself up to civil?
No, not as a government employee. No, they've got a level of. They enjoy a level of
immunity.
Immunity. Thank you very much.
So they can go out and knowingly lie, yet that cost people thousands of lives, and be okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay,
pretty much. Now, again, I really expect tomorrow's program to be pretty intense, and I would urge everyone that has a story to tell to call in.
And I would urge everybody who's listening live to also watch live, because I'm going to try to get as many video clips put up as we can, because we're going to need to put together a presentation type show, because there are certain things you're going to need to see with your own eyes in order to understand exactly what we're talking about. Chappie, the topic is 9/11 tomorrow, 3-hour show, 8 to 11. And for those of you who joined us this second hour, we have a jam-packed week. Tomorrow, a 3-hour show on 9/11 from 8 to 11 Eastern Time. Wednesday, a very special 3-hour program with Henry Groover and Steve Quayle.
Yeah.
And Thursday, 2-hour regular broadcast time with Larry Grathwold. And then Friday, the lady who called in last week, Miss Leslie Botha, should be coming on. So
we have to confirm that.
The last one we have to confirm.
Yeah, the last one is tentative. But so now, folks, remember the the pizza guy that lifted Obama, the shop owner. Maybe you saw this on television, where he gave Obama a big bear hug. Pizza shop owner it was a Florida pizza shop when Obama was down there campaigning. Remember that? Well, now,
did the guy die after he left, by the way? I mean, there seem to be a couple people who recently touched Obama and have died right after that.
Where'd they touch?
Miraculous touch.
No. Actually, no. This guy is a Balkan guy, weightlifter. Big guy. Not that makes any difference, but anyway, he gave Obama a bear hug. A couple of things I want to point out, folks. But number one, obviously, you got to know that was staged. Obama was expecting that. That was not a serendipitous event. That was choreographed. He realized that the Secret Service would have put about 6 rounds in this guy before he even lifted Obama off his feet. So you understand that was a choreographed event. Number one. Number two. This guy's coming out and saying that people are boycotting his restaurant because of his support for Obama. This is a Republican, supposedly voted for Obama in 2008, plans on voting for him in this year.
Was he have a brain injury?
Well, whatever. But again, it doesn't really matter. I guess I'm not pointing out the politics of this. I'm pointing out the choreographed aspects of this. Again, people have to understand this is all smoke and mirrors. This is just this is entertainment. This is nothing more than professional wrestling. That's what this is. Even to the extent where this pizza owner is being allegedly boycotted now. People are saying, oh, because I did this, and as I'm supporting Obama, people are boycotting my restaurant. Do not believe everything you read and everything you hear.
No.
Because this has all been, I mean, from the hug to what is taking place right now. Again, this is all set up to make Obama look like a, to make Obama and this guy look like victims. No, again, I don't care if this would be George Bush. I'd be saying the same thing, or Nixon or Reagan or whoever. It doesn't matter. Again, it's all smoke and mirrors, and that's what people have to really understand. So one more thing, too, before the close of the program.
Wow.
There's a lot of movement right now. We've been getting some inside information about the Israeli situation, and I probably should have brought this up before when it was being referenced, but the United States is giving a lot of money through the back doors to Egypt, to Syria, or to the rebels in Syria, and the money is earmarked to be used militarily against Israel. So when people are saying, hey, are we going to be supporting Israel in any type of war action in the Middle East? Well, yeah, we are. We're going to show them, support to the extent that we might say, hey, we're behind you, but I'm not sure how involved we're going to get. Now, it doesn't matter because Obama is providing this military, and I say Obama because I mean this is Obama. He's providing this military aid in dollars and in equipment to Egypt, and to the rebels in Syria, and to Hamas and Hezbollah. And they are going to pretty much surround, or they have surrounded, or at least partially surrounded Israel. Well, surrounded because of the Mediterranean. And, for example, Obama's deputies right now negotiating a $1 billion aid package with Israel's new Islamist government, the Muslim Brotherhood that we're talking about. They're trying to buy $1 billion worth of German submarines that could cause a threat to Israel. This is all taking place right now. I mean, in a big way. By the way, I've gotten reports, email reports that leaves for U.S. soldiers overseas, or at least in some places overseas and in some places here in the United States, have been canceled until after, or until further notice. I don't know if anyone can verify that for me, if anyone has any family in the military, specifically the Marines. That came in Sunday, yesterday. So if you have any Marines in your family, or if you are a Marine listening to this, if you could tell me if your leave has been canceled, or if anyone you know, if their leave has been canceled, I'd appreciate that. I'm trying to get a handle on exactly who and how many and where, and I'll share this information with you as well.
There's many people in the chat room now speculating on tomorrow, since it is the anniversary, the 11th year anniversary on September 11th,
Right.
Is something going to happen tomorrow? And I haven't seen a lot of speculation, or, a lot of people will hype up dates, every single date, no matter what it is. It could be, the moon, it'll be a new moon tomorrow, so there's going to be an attack. I mean, we've seen it, and we've been conditioned to report on it sometimes because it's news, but nothing. So is that an indicator?
You mean the absence of
yeah.
No, I don't think so. I think
it's a good question, though. I mean, it's something to if anything, heaven forbid, we'll pray that it doesn't, but if anything does happen tomorrow, I don't know what we could gain from that knowledge, but keep it in the back of your mind.
Well, somebody has written to me saying that it's the 11th anniversary of 9/11 tomorrow, and they have not seen a single documentary, not a single retrospective or reminder about the attacks, and they live in New York City. There's going to be a memorial service there. It's just going to be broadcast locally, but the question they're asking to me is, why the silence?
I don't have my old computer up, and I think, I don't know if we published the article or not. I wrote an article last year. The first responders were not allowed to attend the 10th anniversary celebration.
Yes.
Mayor Bloomberg banned the first responders. He banned anybody who wore a T-shirt with anything to do with questioning the government's role in 9/11. Victims' family members from coming. Anybody who did not buy the party or the government lie of 9/11 100% was not allowed to attend the 10th anniversary. No matter if your family died in the attack, if you were a rescue worker, didn't matter. You were banned. And I'll try to find that and post it up. I don't have my old computer.
Well, you
here,
go to HomelandSecurityUS.com. That's HomelandSecurityUS.com.
I'm not sure if we published it. Did we?
Well, I would assume if you wrote it, we published it.
Okay.
But now, having said that, again, tomorrow, 9/11, 3 hours, 8 to 11, and we're looking for your input as well.
Yeah, and if you want, we still have about 10, 12 minutes on the show. Give us a call at 661-244-9839. Closing thoughts, any ideas for tomorrow on the ways to make the show better, give us a call, 661-244-9839. We'll make it quick. Try to fit in maybe 1 or 2 calls if the callers can keep it quick. This news story caught my eye this weekend. Senior FAA officials accused of telling workers job security at risk if GOP wins.
Yes.
Another title worded it, FAA warned on which way to vote.
Ask and you shall receive. 740 area code, you're on with Doug and Joe Hagmann. 740 area code, you're on with Doug and Joe.
Hello, this is Dr. Williams. I spoke with you last week.
Hey, yes. How are you, sir?
Good, good. How are you doing tonight?
Just fabulous. What's on your mind?
Well, I just wanted to kind of give you guys a heads up. Have you guys been watching what's happening going on this evening?
With what?
Well, GoDaddy's offline.
Oh, yeah.
I've got emails on a number of different websites, and I have no access to any of them.
Yeah, GoDaddy and their clients have been knocked off by Anonymous, apparently.
Well,
reporting by the Daily Kos and other publications.
And one thing that we've been seeing, or we've been experiencing here in the studio is, for example, you're coming the communications via voice over internet protocol.
Correct. We're coming over IP network, so
right.
we're doing packet transfer, which is a different type of transformation of information.
Well, what's your thoughts on what's going on here?
Well, I don't have a clue, actually. I mean, this is, I have an extensive IT background, and being knocked off from multiple websites, ISPs, your guess is as good as mine. I mean, I don't know.
I think this is really. I do believe that this is a test, state-sponsored. I don't believe it's some kid in some mom's basement from Anonymous or whatever, or even a sophisticated, young hacker from Anonymous.
A hacker couldn't do this.
No.
I know technology, and no hacker could do this.
There's huge interference right there. I don't know if you said something.
Coming across multiple ISPs. I mean, the only one who actually has this technology, and I'm not going to say who it is, but let's put it this way. It's not you or I.
Exactly.
And it's not some Fortune 500 company that has that capability.
No, you're exactly right. It's something that we're going to be watching because I first heard about it from my stepson who said, hey, they run a logistics company and they interface with various websites and basically their cargo.
Well, put it this way, I'll give you, for instance, one of them right now, NetZero is still offline. You still can't access NetZero.
So, okay, is NetZero part of GoDaddy or is that completely different?
No, they're a totally different company. They are their own company. They're one of the leading ISPs probably in the country.
Wow.
And they're still offline.
Do we know the extent? We don't know, how many different companies, ISPs?
I don't know. I've tried a dozen of them. And, I mean, things like Amazon you can access.
Right.
But, ISPs with, webmail and everything else, I've got, half a dozen different websites where I connect to email from.
Right.
And I can't access any of them.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to keep an eye on this, and I'll talk to Steve Quayle tonight because I know he knows some pretty high up IT type people who watch this stuff all the time. But I do want to find out what the heck's going on here, and if anything breaks, you can check on HomelandSecurityUS.com for an answer if we have it.
I want to give you a heads up. I mean, something's not right, and I'll also give you a heads up too. You know, I was approached a while back to start my own radio show. I mean,
yes, sir.
And I'm considering doing it. And if I do decide to go along that route, I'm like you. You know, the American people have got to be informed of what's happening, what's hitting this country. And I can tell you right now, one of my first guests is I'm going to contact you.
Me? Us? Really?
You, both of you. I mean, I think it'd be incredible to have you on, my show. I've been contracted by a major internet radio organization company that's one of the leading. I mean, they've sold shows to like Discovery.com and everything else.
Right. And I think I know who you might be talking about. Okay. Well, we'd be happy to, and certainly I'd wish you a lot of luck. Look, the more people who can do this and get the message out there, we encourage this, man. I mean, that's what it's all about. You know, it's all about getting the word out there. It's about educating people, and I'm sure you do a fine job at it.
Well, it's key. You know, I mean, too many people today are just asleep. I mean, God, it astounds me how, asleep we are as a nation. It just it astounds me. I mean, and I've got data. I mean, well, let's put it this way. In the late 70s, the data showed that the average American high school graduate had IQ somewhere around 110. Well, I mean, that's not brilliant, but that's highly intelligent.
Right.
Well, in 2006, the high school graduate had an IQ between 95 and 90. Legally retarded is 70.
Right.
I mean, let's get realistic here. I mean, they're with the chemtrails. Which you know this. I mean, which most of your public probably don't know this, though, is in the chemtrails. They're putting fluoride. Fluoride, the Russian gulags, they found out that if you put fluoride in the water, it basically dumbs down the population and makes it more docile.
Right, right.
Well, let's flood the atmosphere over the United States.
Yeah.
Fluoride. And that's just one of the ingredients they're putting in our atmosphere. I mean, the kids today are so docile. The people are so docile. I mean, I know, the greatest generation would never put up with what's going on now.
No, and we've got to take us. We've got to be the greatest generation. And I know how trite that sounds, but really, we've got to. I'd much rather be out, I don't know, taking a walk in my dog than doing what I'm doing. In a way, I mean, I wish we didn't have to do this radio show, but I feel compelled that we've got to do it, just as you feel compelled, perhaps, that you've got to do that.
Yeah, because if we didn't have to do it, that means things would be okay.
Right. But they're not okay, and people are not listening. I mean, look, before the American Revolution, 40% were pro-British, 40% were apathetic. I think I'm not sure of the exact numbers, but it was significant, and just a very small percentage made that difference. Very small, and that's you, sir, and that's us, and that's the people.
Well, and that's key. And the American people, I tell you right now. Well, I saw some numbers. These polls from what I classify as the mainstream media.
Yeah.
Take it how you want. People can call me what they want. I don't believe they are true.
Oh, they're not.
Just due to the fact that I saw some poll numbers that actually showed Obama. I mean, literally, not so much that I support Romney, but
right.
The bulk of the numbers were in Romney's favor. Very little was in Obama's favor. Then I saw the actual numbers come out and said Obama was ahead 48 to 43%.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, this is an outright lie.
I think they're just the Obama polling is going to stay above 40% because I think they have that many dead voters equal to the amount of live voters that will vote for Romney.
You know, I'll tell you what, Doctor. I saw the polling data during the weekend, and not that I follow it that much, but wow, it was an interesting. It was interesting to say the least. So I know what you're talking about there.
Well, I was dumbfounded by the fact that the lie was so great.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we can call it what we want. You can call it the misperception of numbers, you know, polling data error, whatever you want to call it. But the fact is, these numbers are total. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, I've dealt. I mean, I kept saying for years, who are they polling? They're not calling me.
Yeah.
I actually got a call a few weeks ago. I was just dumbfounded. I actually got a call.
For a poll?
The individual I was talking to was actually trying to support a senator. And when I told him that I did not support him, he just went off on me and hung up.
Went off on you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Wow.
I mean, I was dumbfounded. I was like, okay, because I don't support your particular candidate. I was like, and I'm sure he either discounted my viewpoint or just took it as a non-call altogether.
Wow. I've never heard that happen before, but I certainly can believe it, that's for sure. Caller, we're up against the end of the program. I want to say God bless you. Thank you very much for your call. And,
I appreciate your time.
Yeah, I appreciate yours as well. Folks.
Ladies and gentlemen, we reached the end of the show.
Yes.
Do not miss another show for the rest of the week because they should all be wonderful.
Yeah.
Especially the last 3 shows where the show will be predominantly our guests instead of us, but we'll be learning a lot from them. I'm really excited. Ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow a 3-hour special show on 9/11, a regular time. God bless you all, and thank you so much for all your help.